I was wondering how it is being an Aussie in America. Do they get your sense of humour and understand your accent?
Yeah, so when I first came up here a couple of years ago, when I was doing interviews for our show in Australia on Channel 10, the accent thing was a very weird thing and very new, and Simon Cowell off American Idol was the only person on TV with an accent here. But now there's, a lot of Australians have done well here, mainly with people like Simon Baker on The Mentalist, Ryan Quanten on True Blood, the Hemsworth brothers. Oh, Marlena, yes. Don't pretend. We've all thought it. So they're getting to hear our accent a little bit more. So it's been very helpful for me. The more famous everybody else gets, the more I can benefit from it.
You have met and interviewed some amazing people over the years, and I really enjoy your laid-back style. Who stick out as some of the most memorable, and why?
I'm always excited when Will Ferrell's going to be on the show, because I never know what he's going to wear for a start or what he's going to do. My favourite one of his appearances was when he was on with John C. Reilly for Step Brothers, and we had Steve Hooker, who was the Olympic pole vaulter. He had just won gold at the last Olympic Games, and Will and John had found out that we had a pole vaulter on, and so unbeknownst to me, they had organised to come on dressed as pole vaulters themselves, and complain that I had booked another pole vaulter on the show. So all I was told, Marlena, was, now the boys have something planned. They don't want to tell you what it is. Someone's just broken into my car, so this could be, that could be Will Ferrell, I don't know. Do you want to, there we go. So what I was told was the boys have something in mind. They may or may not be in costume, and they may or may not have a prop. That's all I was told. They came out with a regulation-sized pole vault dressed in green and gold, and we pretty much did the whole interview as if they were pole vaulters. So that was a pretty cool one. Also, one I will always mention is Billy Connolly. Back in the early days, especially for me as a comedian, to get to meet someone like that who was a real hero of mine. And there was a problem with when I do an interview on television, you have someone they call a floor manager who sits there in my eye line and will just do this when we're running out of time. That means wind it up, wind it up, wind it up. No one's doing that now, so I'm just going to keep on yammering. And she gets word from the director, and the director will say, okay, we've reached our time, tell them to wind it up. The director, his microphone broke, so she didn't get word that we were meant to finish up. So I was just sitting there not getting told to wind up, so I just thought, obviously it's going really well, and they wanted to keep going. We were meant to talk for 7 minutes, and Billy Connolly and I spoke for 20 minutes before finally the microphone went on in her ear, and they're like, tell him to stop. And we managed to do it, and it's because he is so very good. He's such a wonderfully gifted talent that the conversation never waned. So that was good. And really, I couldn't mention my favourite guest without mentioning my very good red furry pal Elmo, who's it's always good to catch up with him. And if you go to New York City, you should go to the set of Sesame Street if you can. It's one of the most incredible places you could ever wish to see. And tell Elmo I said hi.
I have heard you are into bird watching, which is a unique hobby. When did this passion start, and where do you go to bird watch over in LA?
I bird watch in my backyard. I will turn that on, and I will show you. I do like bird watching. Yes, I have. I grew up with a lot of in a great, like Australia's so good for birds. I think that's part of it. We have parrots, like we have big, beautiful parrots. We have cheeky little lorikeets. We have magnificent sulphur-crested cockatoos. I don't know if you've ever seen a palm cockatoo way up north parts of Queensland, up sort of Cape York Peninsula. One of the biggest parrots you'll ever see in the world. And they're all just in our own backyards. Oh, and splendid wrens, the little bright blue things. People don't care. Look, you're all glazing over. Melina's turned off her machine. She doesn't even want to talk anymore. But I don't know. I kind of like birds. I like nature in general. I'm a big nature fiend, and I'm an international vice president of Fauna and Flora International, which is the world's oldest conservation organisation. So there's myself, Stephen Fry, Sir David Attenborough. So it's a very cool group to be associated with. And so I've always been a fan, and for some reason I have a soft spot in my heart for birds. But where I live here in Los Angeles, you would be surprised the sort of animals that you can get in your backyard. And this was not planned. I actually do have here the type of animals that I can get. So check this out. See that deer? Look at that. That's looking out my back door. I was sitting and watching TV, and she came through the backyard. Little woodpecker. Look at that. Woodpecker. That's a quail. Huh? You ever seen a quail before? Look at that. See, you're not going anywhere. There's a little baby deer again. That's a hummingbird. There's more. That's a gopher. Look how ugly gophers are. So this is how I spend my time. There's a big boy, big beautiful stag came through as well. So that's a little Bambi one. They're very, very cute. So I get hummingbirds and coyotes and skunk, and there's a bird called a scrub jay, which is about as big as a magpie, but bright blue. And he comes down to the back door, and I feed him peanuts. And if I'm not there, he'll knock on the window with his beak. So that's one of the places I will go. I did do a drive up the coast here towards San Francisco. And there's a drive they call the Big Sur, and along there's some big forests, and it's a wonderful spot to go birding if you're ever interested. I know you're not, but you're very polite and will say yes. Sorry you brought it up now, aren't you?
Few facts I have come across in my research. Can you confirm or deny these for me? 1, you are colourblind. 2, you worked on a Ukrainian cruise as an entertainer.
Okay, well, number 1, yes, I am colorblind. Well, technically color deficient. I think it's cones. I think rods in your eyes detect light, and cones detect color. I say that with no authority whatsoever. But I believe I'm cone deficient, which means sometimes if I look at a color, and one of my wife's Tasman's favourite things to do is to put something on and go, what colour is this? But I will often dress myself. That's why I wear a lot of neutral colours, because it makes it easier for me. But I sometimes will put on an outfit and I'll say to Tasman, can you just tell me what colour am I wearing? Does this work? I worked on a Ukrainian cruise ship. So it was based out of Fremantle in Western Australia, and I was one of a friend of mine, and we were the ship's comedians, and it was good fun. But I'll tell you what, one of the toughest gigs you can ever do as a comedian is in front of an audience that is seasick. I didn't take it personally; it was rough seas.
And 3, you are David Hasselhoff's second cousin. As a child, you fell off a mechanical horse as a child.
Right.
You broke a shop window front.
David Hasselhoff, deny, unfortunately. I know. Wouldn't it be great, though? we'd be running up and down the beachfront here with our red floating devices. That one, I don't know who put that. I think that's on IMDb or something, on my IMDb page. But I haven't taken it off because it's a nice little novelty one to have. But no, have no bloodline to the Hoff. But yes, I was on one of those mechanical horses at the shopping centre when I was a kid and fell off it and went through the butcher shop window with my head. But was perfectly fine. Not the only time I've smashed a window with my head. It was another time at home. I was on a chair. Listen to the kids at home. I was on a chair that wasn't a rocking chair, but I was rocking on it like it was a rocking chair, and I rocked too far back and went through the front window of the house. So if you need to break into anywhere, Marlena, any time in your life that you're looking to break into a building through a window, I'm your man. It's grade A quality, this battering ram.
Well, Rove, thanks for the chat. While we would love to see you back home, it is awesome to see you doing amazing things over here. I wish you and your wife Tasma all the best over here, and good luck with all the success that is bound to come your way. I look forward to spending the next few months over here and catching some comedy shows. It is a shame I missed your recent gig with Will Anderson, Jackie Loeb and Monty Franklin. In closing, could I ask you to say hi to my mum? I figure you always ask your viewers to say hi on your behalf, so I would give you the opportunity to. Her name is Pam.
Pam!
So when you are ready, your line is, "Hey Pam, it's Rove here, how you going?" Or something like that, thanks.
Sure. Here I go. Shall I go? Shall I go now? Okay, here we go. Pam, it's Rove. I have abducted your daughter, but don't fret. She is in one piece until she goes on the Kontiki tour. But it's Rove, Pam, and I would like to tell you to say hi to yourself for me. But from Marlena and I, say hi to all your mums for us.
Awesome. Thank you.
A pleasure. Is that in your backyard? Yeah. Coyote, the gopher, hideous little quail. I'm just only doing this because this is what we mentioned. Quail. No. And I'll show you the ones that I was showing before.
Too, don't you?